Share.
Good afternoon and welcome to the June 25th workshop for the Board of Harbor Commissioners for Portland Harbor. Harbor Master, if you can please call the roll.
Commissioner Carter,
Here.
Commissioner Henshaw,
Here.
Commissioner Von Vogt here, Commissioner Wilson. He did say that he may be attending remotely. I don't see him currently. And Commissioner Cummings said he would be absent. We have a quorum.
Yes. Although I'm not entirely sure that's necessary for a workshop. That's a legal question. So our first item of business is an application for the city of Portland for the Portland Fish Pier storm drain outfall replacement. So I know that they sent along some materials and are unable to attend the meeting. But this is the proposed, reading from their proposal or the information they sent, the proposed commercial street storm drain pipe has been designed to convey a 25-year storm from the entire commercial street and Center Street watershed. This will allow the city to connect the existing Center Street storm drain to the new commercial storm drain system. This separation will remove approximately 30 acres of watershed area from the commercial street combined sewer and will result in a reduction of combined sewer overflow discharge volumes at the downstream long or CSO in the city's continued effort to reduce combined sewer overflows. So I guess given the fact that there's not anyone here for the city, I'll just sort of jump into, I guess, some of my questions of based off of that description, it almost sounds like we're connecting to the existing commercial street sewer and stormwater instead of maybe just a stormwater connection. Now, again, I could be misreading that, but that made reference to the watershed area from commercial streets combined sewer, which I'm not entirely sure if that's their intent, is that we're combining and this is going to be a overflow. Because I would have concerns as a commissioner if we are connecting and that we're just discharging raw sewage in the event of
They
a
fixed that
25-year.
problem
I think
a
they,
couple
yeah,
years ago.
Again, I'm reading
No, I
the
know, I
description.
understand what you're seeing there.
yeah, my understanding was they corrected it, and so
So it was no longer.
they were no
discharged.
longer intertwined.
Yeah.
But
it sounds like they're intertwined on Commercial Street anyway.
Right, so that would be my first concern there, and then the second concern I would have is again, I know that stormwater picks up a lot of pollutants as it is being carried through no necessarily fault of anybody, but I didn't see anywhere on the plans any sort of trap or way to catch pollutants before they get discharged into the harbor. I know we have required on some of our previous outfall projects them to have jellyfish traps to catch the pollutants so that it's not being discharged. Not looking to engineer the project, but just not seeing any trap to protect from that. Would be curious on what they're proposing and how they're looking at protecting the harbor in that way.
Huh. Yeah, it says they've identified some that are still connected.
So that's all, that would be my two biggest questions. Otherwise, it seems like a pretty straightforward outfall project.
Yeah, we
But-
can just get them to clarify at the
They could even
hearing.
clarify it via email
yeah.
or just with some explanation.
Right, I mean, we still have to carry this forward
Right.
to, what is that, July?
20 or 9.
Ninth?
Yeah.
So we'll have to vote on it at that one, so. Yeah, if we can get clarification on that beforehand, that would be great, so that. We have time to digest it before that meeting.
So you'll contact city?
Yes, yep, contact them tomorrow, and as soon as I hear something, I'll forward it along.
Yeah, and again, I'm assuming they had to go through. DP, so I'm
Yes.
assuming this has already been talked about and dealt with, it just I didn't see it in our packet.
Yeah.
They have an Army Corps.
But I also know the city has their own stormwater permits that they have to abide by, so. Again, I'm assuming this is all part of that, but. Okay,
Commissioner Wilson says the link to Zoom is just spinning for him, he can't get in.
I guess he's off the hook.
So,
either that or we can. Assign him to a bunch of things in the next.
There you go.
Next line. Okay, so yeah, I see no reason not to move that application forward for July 9th. So moving on to our next item of business. Discussion of the officers' positions for FY 27. So our rules require us to vote on those for the beginning of the new FY, which will be the July 9th meeting. Our current slate of officers is Commissioner Carter as the chair, Commissioner Henshaw as the vice chair, Commissioner Von Vogt as the treasurer, and Commissioner Wilson as the clerk. Not saying we have to change anything, but want to just, it's easier to have the discussion in the workshop than at a public hearing. So if everyone's good with that slate, we can continue moving forward with it.
I have no issues with the slate.
I'm willing to treasure again.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, definitely appreciate that. Okay, so perfect. We'll move forward with the same slate for the public hearing. Moving on to the next item, which is our similar one with the establishment of committees. Three standing committees are the Rules Committee, Human Resources Committee, and Asset Committee. Currently, our slate is, we have Commissioner Cummings and Commissioner Wilson on the Rules Committee. We have Commissioner Carter and Commissioner Cummings on the Human Resource Committee. And we have Commissioner Henshaw and Commissioner Von on the Asset Committee.
I think as long as everybody's willing.
Yeah, we're almost closed out on those grants, but we're not, so.
Oh, but we also will have now.
I know.
We'll have the truck, we'll have the dock, we'll have selling the assets. I don't think you're off the hook.
No.
I don't think you're off
just
the hook that
thinking
easily, unfortunately. The other one that. Again, not having Commissioner Wilson or Commissioner Cummings here, I do think that maybe having another one looking at future planning would maybe make sense to help direct some of that. But it might also be too early for that at this point. But. So, yes, otherwise I'm okay with the keeping the same committees as well.
Paul, who is working with you on the harbor plan?
So the Great Portland Council of Governments did reach back out.
Oh, good.
And they are going to put together a proposal, to bring before the board to discuss how to get the cities involved.
Yeah.
Kind of next steps.
That's great. It was more in line with, our committee is, I think you're right, Michael, that, we probably don't need it right away, but it's probably something we should think about in terms of
Right, I think
Going
we're gonna
forward with
need
the
it before the end of
planning
the year,
process. Yeah,
even just to help meet with and direct. Cause, yeah, if we wanted to look at that, I would. If we wanted to include that, I believe Commissioner Cumming would want to be on that one, and I'd be willing to. Be on the rules committee so that he's not overbooked. And I don't know if someone else would be wanting to be on the planning one with him.
I might do that.
Okay. They're not here, so we can just volunteer them. Okay. So I'm okay with that, so we'll move forward for the public hearing. Rules committee will be myself and Commissioner Wilson. HR committee will be myself and Commissioner Cummings. Asset will remain as it is with Commissioner Henshaw and Commissioner Von Vogt. And the planning committee will create, and that one will be Commissioner Cummings and Commissioner Henshaw. I'm writing these down so I can also send it to you if you missed something. Okay, and then running through these, the next item is the allocation of the FY 26 funds. So our policy says that we have our contingency fund, our asset replacement fund, and our legal contingency funds, plus our cash flow for the FY. Beginning of the year, we allocate and true up so that we have the three funds. The money allocated to the three funds, and with that, I'll hand it over to the treasurer.
Yeah. I did some analysis, of our cash flow, which I've sent to, Commissioner Wilson
Yeah.
and Cummings, and I gave it to Paul and to Michael earlier. Basically, the good news is that it's pretty static, that, our average balance of those funds was, 259,634 in fiscal year 25. It dropped to 197 in fiscal year 26, which is likely due to the fact that we spent $50,000 out of that fund roughly to, on the FEMA boat, our share of it. And down below, I show the history of those three funds. And I'm recommending that we allocate back into the asset replacement fund 20,000, which trues up with our cash balance at the end of the year. Which is what we see, what we've done in the past. We have a healthy contingency fund, which we need because our funds arrive sporadically, in large chunks and at different times of the year. If we sell either of, I guess it's just a whaler we're selling, right, or potentially, or both of them.
I believe it was both. I thought.
Probably both, don't rely on my memory for anything. If we sell either or both, that'll go back into the asset replacement fund, which hopefully will bring it up to near where it was before we bought the FEMA boat. For those that don't remember the FEMA boat, we were responsible for 12.5%. And MDOT gave us a grant for 12.5% and FEMA paid for 75%. And so I'm actually relieved to know that we're pretty consistent.
Yes.
Take any questions, but but I would recommend that we go with that, since it aligns with what we've done in the past, and allocates the cash we have on hand.
Yeah, no, I think that makes perfect sense to me. I know the contingency fund. I forget how many months we had talked about, but I think it was either. I think we had targeted that being like somewhere in the 46-month range, if I'm remembering correctly, which. I think we would still, just looking at the. Flow, I think that's still roughly what we spend. That would still cover us for like 46 months. Cause, and the only other thing that I couldn't remember is. Did we delete some of those out of our FY 27 budget?
I don't think we addressed them specifically in the budget, if I remember.
Okay, I thought we had them as line items. I just don't remember if we ended up deleting them to cut cost or not.
I know we reduced them because we needed to meet the budget, to make the budget work.
Right.
But I'm optimistic that we'll be in better shape with that budget than we thought we would be. Barbara and I will probably have at the next workshop, just a more detailed analysis of performance against budget. We plugged the budget into QuickBooks and we've got most of that stuff working pretty well.
Yeah, and I see Commissioner Wilson was able to join.
So I'm willing to be treasurer because I'm not worried.
Perfect.
How's that for self?
Yep.
That's good, confident. I like it. Makes me feel a lot better.
Perfect, okay. Yeah, that works for item 3, and then item 4, discussion of the office manager position, and with that, I'll turn that one over to the harbor master.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, we've been kicking this around for a little bit. We, we budgeted, kind of a higher salary for the fiscal year, 2027. So with that, what I've found since coming down here is it's really important to have one person who's focusing on, I'll call it the business side of things. And what's been really helpful is currently, this position handles all the financials, prepares things for the treasurer. As we go forward, I see this person taking on a bigger role, of course, with the board's permission, of kind of being the point of contact for all things, we'll call it HR, before it escalates to the board, full board. They would handle all new employment paperwork, making sure the trainings, documents are up to date and current. We kind of called that the human resources liaison within the job description, and also the finance liaison. Again, not taking anything away from the board, but just to be a support for the board. You have one person for you guys to contact, and then that allows me to focus on deputy harbor master staff, and we'll call it operations, all things harbor related, and it also just for accountability purposes, so that I'm not in there changing numbers and Barbara's not in there changing numbers, and then we have a concern about who changed what number and where did that, consistency is key, I think. So that's why we are proposing this new job description before you tonight. And certainly I'm looking for any recommendations of edits or changes if there are any.
So I'm blanking on this, but what's different in this from our previous position description?
The human resources liaison and finance liaison. So I know the treasurer has been working with the current office manager, kind of to, I don't know, maybe Steve, you can.
I think Barbara's doing much more than we ever did in-house. I mean, we had a accountant before who did a lot of this stuff, wrote the checks and did all these things, and there were some frustrations with that arrangement. I find that Barbara is mastering QuickBooks, and we're dealing with an outside accountant, but that work is minimal. And I think she's just does a great job of managing the business end of things, so I don't think about it, I just turn up once in a while and sign checks. And we work well together, I'm really pleased, I think she's having been in business for a long time.
Remember, we're supposed to be talking about the position, not the
Oh,
person.
sorry. I'm sorry. Anyway, I think it's important to have someone capable across personnel, finance. And it's not appropriate for the board to have their hands in that stuff, so I'm just as glad to have capable people in this office doing it. So,
Right.
I would say my one concern, and again, I'm gonna be a little nitpicky here and I'll acknowledge that up front. Uh. I might try to come up with a different term than human resources liaison,
yeah,
just because
that's,
everyone's still gonna work for the harbor master and I don't wanna necessarily make that confusing. I have no issues with the idea. Like. It might, again, I don't wanna get it overly wordy, but. Onboarding and payroll liaison might be a better term there. I definitely see and think that that makes sense to have one person that understands payroll and can answer those questions. Because similarly, I didn't see it on here, but would they in would this position be in charge of sort of the health benefits package and coordinating with that as well?
Yes, correct, yep.
So, I mean, ultimately, you're responsible. You can delegate responsibilities to your staff.
Yep.
So I think that that's the way that,
Okay,
the HR piece of that ought to work. Because
gotcha,
they all work for you ultimately.
sure.
Right, and again, this description. I know right now the position is an hourly
Mhm.
position. This description, I think, definitely lends itself more towards a salary position. I believe the biggest issue with the last round of job description on why it ended up being hourly was there was a lot more specific oversight built into the job description of they work. We all know they will still work for their harbor master, but it was a lot of working at their delegation and everything
Gotcha.
rather than being sort of their own doing what they have to do.
Sure.
So saying that, haven't actually run it by our lawyers, but based off of my understanding of the issues with the last one, the last job description on why it had to be hourly, I believe this would probably pass the legal test to be a salary position.
yeah, I would concur with that. It's,
She got her hands full.
yeah,
She's busy, she stays busy, that's for sure.
So, yeah, no, I think that makes sense. Again, I think it definitely is having a strong person in that position does help with overseeing and making sure everything is running smoothly on a day-to-day basis. So I have no issues with it and I'm happy to run it by the lawyer just to confirm that we passed the salary test, but based off my reading, I think we would.
Do we have to establish a salary range? I guess we do once the lawyers look at it.
I think there's one in the budget already, if I remember correctly.
Right, I think we have two items here. One would be if we're hiring, I think we need to establish the range, otherwise, if we're implementing this, we just need to make sure that we vote and it's transparent that we're approving that much money.
Well, and changing from an hourly position to a
Salary.
salary.
Correct. So I think that is very doable for the next workshop. The lawyers are normally pretty responsive, so. I can double check with them and just make sure and get back to everyone if anything comes up that's a red flag.
That'll be a public hearing or workshop?
Public hearing.
Okay, gotcha.
Sorry, yeah.
Okay.
That works for me. So we have no old business. Harbor Master, if you have a report.
Yeah, so we're starting to get staff using the dispatch system, which is great, 'cause it's nice to be able to provide you guys with some actual numbers. So since the last time we've met, we've had 142 calls for service. It's kind of all over the board, you know, we've had agency assistance calls, whether that's Coast Guard or the fire department. A bunch of mooring calls, watercraft in distress. We've had 40 vessel stops that we've issued warnings, so we're not trying to come out of the gate hot and heavy, but we're trying to educate people and spread the message that we're out there and definitely doing some enforcement. Waterway debris removal still holding strong. We had 20 in the last month, and a lot of them are all, you know, large trees and boats and logs and all kinds of good stuff. But yeah, it's been great. We've had some new staff starting since you guys approved their hirings last month. It's working out great. Really experienced, well experienced folks out there doing the work and doing really good enforcement. So I'm really happy. We are starting our abandoned and unpaid mooring enforcement. So we're at the point now where we're going to start issuing summonses. In some instances, we have examples where folks have been notified 12 times since January to renew their mooring, both by email and physical letter. And we've confirmed that those moorings are still in the water. So we're at the point now we're going to start enforcement. That's going to start Monday. And lastly, we're getting ready for the 4th of July. We're kind of having a full staff running right from mid-morning to right probably through 11 o'clock at night. So we'll have both boats going all day. I had heard rumors that sometimes the police department will jump on with the harbor master office. I confirmed that that's not the case. They jump on with the Coast Guard, but they are they're happy to know that we'll be out there, and we have a communications plan established for in the event we need them or they need us. Other than that, we're getting ready for the season to really ramp up.
Perfect, yeah, and all the city celebrations actually on the 4th, even though I know that because it's on a Saturday, a lot of businesses are doing it on the 3rd, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And I guess their postponed date for rain is on Sunday.
Correct. Yeah.
Moving on to commissioners' comments, so one comment that I actually told the harbor master about just earlier today. I did see that the Maine DOT has partnered with Jacobs Engineering on a clean energy EPA study to help reduce emissions in their 4 main harbors. So that's something that I know that we're looking at our planning study and will be something that we'll probably want to tie into as we're going along.
You say 4 main harbors?
Yes,
What's the 4th?
I think Bar Harbor made the list.
Oh, interesting.
I'm not 100% sure about that, so don't quote me, but I believe Bar Harbor made that list.
You guys were all copied on the emails, so you're all aware that we've asked for an extension of the DOJ grant. It's a 12-month extension, hoping to allow us to do some of the modifications to the vessel after the boating season. I will let people know when we hear from Danielle.
Any other comments?
I'd be just curious when we reach out to the city if that is if there is actually raw sewage coming out of that, I'm just, for my own interest, curious, because that was a problem and I thought it was corrected.
The way I understood it, not to go back on your
No.
agenda item,
You don't have to worry about
in
it.
their review, it just said, in an effort to reduce combined sewer overflows.
So it might be an overflow situation or exceptional
Well, what
situation.
was that giant hole they dug on, next to 295?
Well, that was the
Mhm.
purpose, was
Yeah,
to
that's
trap
right.
stormwater. I did,
But that's the opposite side of, I'm sure it's not taking storm water from. down
no,
here.
no, it's keeping it from,
Yeah.
making it flood.
Well, it's that whole neighborhood used to
Yeah,
flood
yeah.
terribly.
just coincidentally, I will not be at the next meeting. I'll send a note to remind folks.
Okay.
I'm gonna be out of the country.
You got deported?
We'll see if they let me back in.
All right, well, I think that does it for today then, and with that, we'll be adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.